we put the call out for this event to the college's film studies students and the college's Hispanic studies and Latin American studies students, because this is this great opportunity on like both of those fronts. So first let me introduce our panelists for a little bit more, give you guys all a little bit of a background. Sebastian Silva, as I mentioned, he's a writer, director, but also, and this may come into the conversation, you're a musician. No, an ex-musician, former member of 3 hip-hop bands, Congregación de Hermanos Contemplativos, also known as CHC, Yaya?
Yeah, it's a calypso music project.
Okay.
And I'm really not a musician.
Okay, and those moments. All right, but so you've been a non-musician in hip-hop.
I've been performing, yeah, but I don't know how to play the guitar or like make music by myself. I need people, I need producers and musicians around me.
Okay.
But I can come up with a poppy melody there.
Okay. And then also, so you check me on this, because I also got information that said you were a painter.
No, yeah, that's right.
That's legit.
That's legit. I've done it all my life, more than movies. I keep on doing it, yeah.
Okay, all right, awesome. And so you were born in Santiago, Chile. Mm-hmm. You studied at the Film School of Chile?
That's not right.
That's not right.
No, but because I went to, because I went to this like very tiny film school. That's correct, but I was not studying. I was like, no, for real. I bought a video camera and then I was smoking weed all day and like filming my family and people in the streets and yeah. But I was really not studying. I dropped off all of the classes and
okay.
I lived right in the middle of the year. Yeah.
Okay.
It was not really an academic experience. That's what I wanted to.
Excellent. So that's like okay. That's. There's a message there, maybe, for folks considering film school.
Get high. Yeah. No, I'm kidding.
Not kidding. All right, and then this I know is accurate. You are the writer-director of the 2 films we saw last night.
Yes.
And Magic. But in addition, just to go back so everybody knows, these are only the latest in filmmaking accomplishments. Old Cats in 2010, The Maid in 2009,
yeah.
Which also was Sundance. That was your first film in Sundance, is
yeah.
that right?
Yeah.
And then before that, La Vida de Mata.
La vida me mata, yeah, life kills me.
Life Kills Me.
Mm-hmm.
And you are currently in post-production on your next project, Nasty Baby, okay, which we're hoping is the goal to have that ready and submitted to Sundance for.
Yeah, no, it's already been submitted, and we're dealing with whether we want to put it there or not, just because we're still editing, so
okay.
We don't know if it's worth rushing it for the festival.
Okay, all right.
But it might be.
Cool. And then real quick, let me introduce Cristobal Ross, who is also from Chile, from Santiago?
No, from the south, from Patagonia, from Punta Arenas.
Patagonia, okay. That I did not have that information, Ross, so
okay.
thank you. And so here's Ross's story, and it's different in that Ross is and was characterized himself not as a filmmaker. Ross's career, as you described it to me, you are an industrial engineer, and I'm wondering if the tense is right on that. You were an industrial engineer, because now you're a web creator, or?
Oh yeah, I think I'm both. Like,
you're both.
Yeah,
okay.
academic.
So had a successful career as a industrial engineer, but you quit your job that you had with an airline and moved to the U.S. to create the web series that you all saw last night, Gringolandia. And so that, so you all know, what we saw last night was the world theatrical premiere of what is otherwise a web series, something designed for the internet. This was a cool opportunity to sort of introduce that. The web series launches tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we really got the sneak peek of this web series, and Ross also found out in between the 2 screenings, got the call and just was able to sell the show, which was a sort of a big coup. So this is something that is just like just coming together when Gringolandia is huge in 2 years, you can say we were there at the moment.
I hope so.
And then you're, so yeah, and then also in addition to the web series, you're the founder of Contento.tv, a production company that creates stories for the 21st century. So,
Yeah, that's our, like, Gringolandia led to that.
Okay.
So we're funding that production company. We're focusing on new ways of storytelling, meaning that for different audiences, different habits. It's not that like I'm against film. I would really love to move into that, but I just like think that the thing behind everything is like just storytelling. So it's a good now it's a good time to review some paradigms and really question ourselves, like what's a story, and then what's the length of a story, you know, what's the right length. I think there's no right length. So we're focusing on web distribution primarily.
Okay.
And yeah, we're really excited. So
cool. So let me. I like just want to throw things open now and just get each of you to sort of describe the sort of process or path by which you came to be, you know, a filmmaker and a web series creator. Is filmmaker even the best label? You kind of touched on this already, Ross. But so, and just kind of like imagine you have a room full of, and this may not be entirely true, but I know we have at least some of the folks here are really eager to do this career, be involved in filmmaking, or in some fashion in film, television, media, and entertainment industries. So you guys are here as two kind of success stories. And so, you know, how hard is it, would you say, and what would you recommend? Like, what do you wish someone had told you when you were 20 years old, what you know now? Like, so yeah, please guide us here.
Yeah. I'm broke. I'm 34 years old. I own like $80,000. I have never made money in this career. I made 6 movies, 6 feature films. A lot of a couple of them have won really important festivals, but so it's not something that's going to ever give you money. I mean, it's good to think about it that way. So if you then make money, it's a great surprise, and it's rewarding, and it's like, yeah, it's kind of like a pleasant surprise, but you were not expecting that. So if you're thinking money, don't do movies, for real. Though there are directors that are really rich, but it's just really hard. Besides that point, I never thought I was gonna be making movies. Like I'm a painter, and I was painting all my life, and I didn't want to. I'm not really good at going to school. I went to high school and it didn't work, and then I didn't want to go to. That's why film school. I was not really studying, and so I started writing just because I thought it was the most challenging sort of task, just to tell a good story. Because painting and music, I was part of these music bands, and it seemed that music and painting was something that I kind of like understood, and like I could make my own pieces, and they made sense, and people liked them. But storytelling felt very challenging, just to tell a story and engage somebody from beginning to end with a story that is like compelling, and like you feel identified by the characters, and it's worth sharing, right? So I started writing just to prove myself that I could maybe tell a good story. So I wrote a couple of screenplays that I never planned on making them into movies. They were awful screenplays, very long, like 140, and like really epic, and the world, and like just like really expensive ideas to produce, you know. But since I was never thinking of making them, I had a lot of freedom to write them. But then, yeah, like the 3rd or 4th screenplay that I wrote, I was encouraged by my partner at the time he's like, you're writing screenplays, like, just make a movie. Like, a screenplay is not a literary form, just like, it's a guide to make a movie, just make a movie. And I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll try. And then I went to a production company, some people that I knew, and I showed them the screenplay, and then they wanted to produce it immediately. So I really lucked out.
Okay.
Like there's a lot of people that go shopping screenplays forever and nobody wants them.
And that was via Me Mata?
That was Life Kills Me. Yeah, it's like a black and white sort of like fiction about the phenomenon of death. I was really obsessed with death. I am very obsessed with it. But at that point I wanted to make a dark comedy about like all of the sort of angles that you could possibly take about death. From Ouija board to morgue and corpses and, I don't know, losses, I don't know, yeah, everything. So yeah, the first day I was shooting that movie, I realized that I was born to be a director, I guess, just because I like to boss people around and I really enjoy the attention. And my mind goes everywhere too. I'm very ADD, so for a director it's good because you're like, no, her hair is crazy. No, your acting's weird. And then like you have so many things that you could be doing at one time that it felt like the perfect thing for me to be doing. And then after that, I just kept making movies, and every single piece of life that I witness or I experience, it feels that it's a movie. Like that's the thing about movies, that is the art form that resembles life the most to me. You know, like it has sound, like you can hear my voice, right? There's birds and stuff, and right, there's birds. So many birds. So yeah, I mean, like it just looks like life. You know, you blink, it's a cut. You know, or like you're here and then like I need to go to the bathroom. You don't even realize you're like peeing. Like it's like there's like cuts. You know, it's like it really feels like life. So I feel that you get the bag. I think like you know that you get the bag inside of you. Like if you've made a movie or you've shot something, and then you're somewhere and you're like, oh my God, that would be so amazing. That would be such an amazing story. Then you probably are a filmmaker. If you don't feel that way and you're just planning and it's like, it seems more of a scheme that you have for your life to become a filmmaker, you probably are not a filmmaker. That's my take on it. Because it's really, you need to have that obsessive sort of passion that everywhere you go, or like every person's story could be a movie. You know, like what's going to happen when we all split after this meeting? Like what's going to happen with you? But what are you going to do? Like that's a movie right there, honestly. I mean, like every single life, it's an amazing movie. And like that's proven. There's so many movies called Adele or, I don't know, Gloria. There's so many movies with one name that, I don't know, is that the longest answer?
No, that was
okay.
Great answer. So, yep, and Ross, what would you say? I mean, and you like this question was cute, and so
I think
he's got it. Yeah, that's for you. Okay. This question was cued by something you said last night, and you kind of said like, I just did that. You sort of said just do it, but can you kind of elaborate on like what you would, what you've learned and what you would advise to others wanting to kind of be where you are?
Well, what I said, like first, like set a goal. I think that actually set the challenge. I mean, like it's a huge challenge to do this. Like I've been in this for the past year, so it's really it's like my full-time job. Like I quit my job. I've been doing this like full-time, and so the first thing like set like attainable goals. So I would say I set like 4 goals like 1 year ago. Said like first do this. I mean like finish this. So I would be happy. So that's my first goal. Then the second one would be do something that you're not embarrassed to show. Something like good at least. So that would be my second one. Then the third one, like show it to as many people as possible. And then the fourth one would have been like sell it and then finance it. So you can keep on doing this like for a living.
So last night you achieved goal number 4.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. Yeah. So yeah, so that was my first set of goals, and then how to get there. Well, I think like now I'm thinking as a producer, not as a filmmaker. Like now I kind of consider me more like filmmaker, but back then I was just like rational thinking and how do I get to this goal. So I would say first like use all your resources like available. So before even start writing, I made a list of what I had. So what I had was my apartment. I had like this great city where everyone wants to be an actor, everyone wants to be part of a production. So I had access to a lot of great talented professionals and young ones. I had that. I also had a wonderful city to shoot in. So it's a great location. You move from one street to the other, and you're in Chinatown, and then you're in Little Italy, and then so you get a lot of flexibility and production value out of that. So also I had to use that. And then you have certain days to shoot. So when I was writing, let's say the first script, the first episode was easy. I have like a lot of flexibility to write whatever I wanted. But the fifth episode or the sixth episode, I have half a day in my apartment with these two actors. So I have to write something for them, right? So it's a different approach if you're writing a script out of just let someone else to produce it. Like since I'm producing, I'm putting all the input, the money input, the logistic input, everything into it. So it has to be. That's why I could do that. So like I have all the control, right? So I would say first, do that. You make a list of all your assets, what you have, and use them. Like really use them. So that would be like one of the first things.
Okay. I wanted to follow up there, Ken, because there's another question that I wanted to ask both of you, which was, you're both New Yorkers now. You both live in New York City, and clearly New York City is like a fundamental character, as you were just describing in your series, Ross. And Sebastian, you're in the editing phase of the first film you shot in New York, right? Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I shot this HBO thing. It's called The Boring Life of Jacqueline.
Oh, okay.
And I shot that in Soho, New York.
Okay.
So I've shot there before. I've shot in Manhattan for like 3 weeks or something. And now it's mostly Brooklyn. It was very different.
Because I wanted to sort of try to get you guys to both talk about what relationship, like you both wound up in New York, and was it kind of like your interest in and that passion, that feeling of like I want to be a filmmaker and somehow that's part of what's driving me to New York? Is it because that's like you became a filmmaker? The films we saw last night were filmed in Chile. I'm just want to get a sense of.
I moved to New York. I went to Chile to shoot them.
Okay.
I've been in New York for the last 11 years, and I've shot a lot of movies in Chile since then. And now I've just shot 2 things in New York, but like my next projects are probably going to be in America. I don't know, like upstate New York, and then something in, I don't know, maybe not in America, but somewhere else. But I moved to New York before I even wanted to be a filmmaker. They're not really related at all. Just New York, New York is what everybody knows about. It's very diverse, it's fun, and has a really fast pace, which suits me, and it's kind of in the middle of Europe and South America. It's easy, close to LA as well. It's just a good place to be strategically,
And so, those decisions you're based in New York, but you went back to Chile to.
No, because the movies that I shot, wrote Magic. I really wanted to give. You guys watched the movie? Yeah, okay. So the Mapuches, right? The natives. By the end, like to write a scene with natives that would perform a ritual like that anywhere but in South America would have been pretty phony, I think. Like, I don't think you can get away with like doing one of those rituals somewhere in the States now. I don't think that there are natives doing that here anymore. So it would have taken the movie to like a very strange place. Like it would have been really forced to have a ritual like that anywhere else but in the south of Chile. And it felt, just like I had the means, to like Ranco, that lake. I know the lake region very well. Like I was planning on shooting this movie at my parents' house in the south, which is another tip. Going back to what he said, it's like locations that we have access to. You really need to look into them and see what kind of like experience you've had there, and if they're worth maybe making a short film or just shooting like a moment that you live in that house. Like locations are really amazing characters for movies. Like the more you know the location, the more organic your movie is going to be, because you know what takes place in each room. You know, like I remember The Maid, we shot it at my parents' house. It's the house that I grew up, and then like you know exactly the dynamics. Like you're not making shit up. Like everything's real. You know, you're like, oh yeah, after they have dinner, they usually, some go to the kitchen and sit at the table and have a coffee, but the others go to the TV room and start watching, like you just know things, you know? So that adds so much value to your, the atmosphere you're creating. It's just so believable. It doesn't feel stiff or amateur, you know? It just feels really mature.
Yeah, because that's so, I'm glad you brought that up, because I always noticed that, like so the main filmed in your family home that you grew up in, and I was reading stuff where you said, like, it's like you knew every
room, yeah. And now just like my last movie, I shot it in my house, in Brooklyn, my apartment. It's a 1-bedroom apartment, and then there is a killing there in my house, and we didn't have money for me to go to an hotel or after. I mean, I asked them, they said yes, but they didn't. And so we had this scene where I'm in the movie, I'm the starring, it's the first time that I've been in a movie. And so I'm killing this guy in my living room. And then I'm freaking out, whatever. We shot that scene, it was really intense. It was a night scene, so we kept on shooting until like 5 in the morning. And then everybody left, and we kept a corpse in my bathtub. And everything was bloody, and I had blood on myself. And my cat was leaking like fake blood. And I went to bed, and then I woke up, and then I was peeing, and there was a corpse in my It's really great to shoot it. Yeah, I mean, like, that's really, honestly, there's like, if we're looking for tips to make like movies when you're young, I say, like, I'm gonna get very practical now. Like, I usually come up with an idea. It's really important that you have an end. Like you have a beginning and an end. Like if you're gonna embark into a writing experience and you don't have an end, good luck. Like it's not gonna work. You're gonna write 45 pages and you're gonna be like lost and like bored with yourself and your idea. So have an end. Have a good story with a beginning and an end, and like just tell the story to everybody you can. Like bore your friends in a bar, make up the story, and as soon as you find your friends that are bored with your story, you make shit up. As you go, you're like, and then they die, or whatever. Then they get raped. They're all naked. They're like, what? But just like make sure that the story is working when you tell the story in a bar, anywhere. Like, or if you tell a friend, like, I'm writing this, and you make sure that you pitch the story briefly, right? So you don't bore everybody around you, but you know when the story is working by telling the story. So I wouldn't start writing unless I know that my story is working when I share it, you know?
Yeah.
People are like, oh, fun, oh, wow. And then you know the story is working. And then, so that's tip number 1. Then write that down, that story down. They call it a treatment. So it's basically, if you're writing a feature film, a treatment should be from 9 to 13 pages. And it's kind of natural. If you really have a story with a beginning and an end, and you start writing details, you can even write dialogues in this treatment. But it usually naturally is going to become a 10-page thing. It's not, you don't have to force it. Naturally. Maybe you're going to find that the first time you tried, it was only 4 pages, and they're like, oh, okay, I got to write more details. I got to write how these characters are feeling in this thing. I got to describe their emotions, you know, and then every time that you describe emotions, they're just going to grow until, so as soon as, when you get to 8 pages or 9 pages or 10 pages, then you're all set. Honestly, like you've done the hardest work. And then you sit with that, and then from the treatment, you write a screenplay. And that is, honestly, it's magic how it happens. You just like start writing the scenes, right? You're like, okay, interior, blah, blah, blah. And the characters that are in your treatment, you like write them on the page, and then they start talking, and all of a sudden, you're gonna find yourself that you have like a 100 pages screenplay, like a legit screenplay, you know? That only if you wanna go and shoot a legit screenplay, which I do not advise to do that in an early stage. I think it's better to have like a really clear outline and what you want, whatever it is that you want to happen in every single scene, have it very clear, and then improvise with your friends on set. I think so.
Okay.
Because we're young, you guys are younger, and like, I'm sure you're smart, but you're not that smart. And your dialogues are not going to be that amazing. So let people talk, you know? Like it's more surprising, it's more real, you know?
So improvisation is...
Improvisation,
like,
but improvisation doesn't mean that you just like put people in a room, you're like, do whatever, you know? Like you gotta know what every single character is gonna go through in that specific scene. So you know, like, she's gonna be lying. Did I say this yesterday? No?
No.
Sort of, right?
You talked about the scene where she was naked in the room and they were just kind of there.
And now you shot for 45 minutes. There's a 45-minute take?
Yeah. But what I'm saying is like, just make sure what you want from each character in a specific scene, you know?
Yeah.
You need to know what you want from the scene. It's like, okay, in this scene, she's gonna find out that he's been lying all throughout, and then she's gonna lie again, and then the other person in the room is gonna start blushing and leave the room. So you want that to happen. It's like, you gotta be that specific.
Okay.
So you can only improv when you really know what you're doing.
Yeah.
If you don't know what you're doing and you start improvising, like, it's gonna be a mess. It's gonna end up being like a kindergarten play. You know? Yeah.
So is that, because what I read about Magic versus Crystal Fairy is that Magic was like, this was a screenplay you spent a lot of time on. It was a very technical kind of film in some ways. And then the Crystal Fairy was, all right, let's just do this.
But it was great because Crystal Fairy, so I've written Magic. It was a screenplay that went through a lot of revisions because a lot of producers got involved, which is annoying. But it went through a lot of revisions, right? And it was at a good stage, but I was like dizzy with the screenplay at that point. And then by chance, we ended up making Crystal Fairy before Magic. We didn't have a screenplay. It was the first movie I've done like that, and it felt so freeing, and the movie worked out so well that when I got to the set of Magic, I was so much more open to improv too, even though I had a full-length screenplay.
Okay.
And actually having a full-length screenplay and being open to improv, I guess is the best thing to do, because in case actors are being retarded or you are being retarded on set and you just don't know how to go about your own movie and the improv is just not working, you're blanking, you're having a bad day, who knows, at least you have a screenplay that you can go back to and like, okay, I can lean on this. But yeah, the combination is actually the best. But it's very important to not be put in a box by your own screenplay. It's very dangerous.
So what's with what you just finished shooting? Was it
Nasty Baby, yeah.
Nasty Baby. Was it?
That was improv, yeah.
It was improv.
Yeah, I mean, we wrote, the treatment was way longer. Like the outline we had, it was 25 pages. For Crystal Fairy, it was only 10. So here it was a more detailed outline. But yeah, we were improvising dialogue. But you improvise the way you say things, but you know what you're going to be saying, you know? It's like in this scene, she's going to tell you guys, you're going to back out because it's about this couple that, nah, I don't want to get into that. I mean, it's not relevant to the question. But yeah, just know what it needs to be said, and then how it's said, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
It could be improved.
So, Ross, how does this compare to like it's to get that kind of, you know, frenetic humor in your series and its rhythms? Is it a lot of improv? Did you write all those scripts? Do you have anxious to hear about your kind of method?
Yeah, actually, since like before I was a producer, so I thinking as one, I wanted to have a really solid script. So if anything happened, you know, I have something to lean on, as Sebastian said. But like once I was on set, I found out that I had done a lot of background stories about the characters. So I gave each character like a 5-page bio of their characters. So once on set, I thought like, it doesn't matter like if it's working, if it's raining, if we have to improv a whole scene, you know, they will work anyway. So it happened that way. I'm really relaxed right now. Like I'm writing the next season, and I'm really confident that, yeah, the script is more like an instructor, and the tells the character, the actors, the mood, what they say, the context, but now the actual words, they don't actually matter at the end of the day. So, and if you use that, then all the dialogue like comes out really fresh and real. And then I think the mockumentary kind of format also helped that. So they had a lot of time to be alone with the camera, so I could be guiding them, and so it was like really organic kind of a way. And I ended up, learning the same lessons as Sebastian like just said. So I think that's a good method. And yeah.
I have tons more I could ask, but I want to share you guys with the audience. So why don't we take some questions?
Why don't we all cuddle?
Yeah,
Let's all cuddle.
yeah, Pablo, you got.
So again, can you tell us about Crystal Fairy, like shooting Copiapó in the small houses and, and the old lady with the cat?
Oh yeah, cool.
And the geologist.
I don't think
You have these two paleontologists out there, the two whale guys. Where does that come from?
What is that?
The two whale guys. The guy who rescues Crystal Fairy when she's out naked in the desert.
Oh, that's my ex-boyfriend.
Is he?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he was okay. So he wasn't a guy that.
He was not just a random black dude in the desert. No. I brought him there. I paid for his ticket.
All these small locations, right?
No, yeah, the small locations. That was something that we actually. I went with him 1 week before the shoot to do scouting location. We needed to buy a bunch of cactuses too to prepare the mescaline and just have cactuses for the movie, right? So we went on this mission and. We found that really awesome spot where they finally pitched their tents, right? Like that's a national park called Pan de Azúcar. So we found the right spot for that, and then we went to Tierra Amarilla, which is this tiny town that they're trying to get the cactus from. And we did exactly what you see them doing. We're like, ding dong, can we buy your cactus? They're like, fuck off. We're like, thank you very much. And then we went to all the houses. Whoever didn't want to sell the cactus, we're like, would you be in the movie telling people like us that you don't want to sell your cactus? They're like, yeah, sure. And then we're like, okay, cool. And the good things were like, you would mention Michael Cera. They're like, Michael Cera's in the movie. They're like, what is that? What is Michael Cera? We're like, yeah, no, nothing. So they didn't care about, it was not exciting for them to be part of a movie, nothing. Like they couldn't care less about us. So yeah, all of those people we found that way, just ringing doorbells. We're like, can you just do that? And then Senora Pachita, right, the lady that they steal the cactus from, I saw her house from outside. I'm like, I love this place. This should be the patio where they find the cactus. So we would put the cactuses there, right? And I went and talked to Senora Pachita. She was a lonely lady with a cat or something. Now and then, her house was incredible. Honestly, like we walked into her house. She called it colonial style, but she had like Barbie dolls like nailed to the wall. And like McDonald's cups hanging, like just weird shit. And I'm like, Senora Pachita, this is amazing. Can we come back here and shoot inside your house? Would you like to be part of the movie? You would be Senora Pachita, you'll be yourself. And she's like, yeah, I'd love to. And then we went back there and she had like bought a dress and she had so much makeup on and went like, where's Senora Pachita? Who are you? And then she was the worst actress ever. It was very hard for her to be herself. Really, really hard. She was a mess. So we just had to like cut around her and get stuff. But it was basically what you see in the movie is exactly what happened. Like this bunch of weirdos went to her house and then left, and she stayed with a teddy bear by herself. Hey, but it was not. We were really, yeah, we were very nice to her, but. She opened up, her brother had just died, she started crying, Gabby started crying. I'm like, we need to work, guys, come on. I can be very human, but we were just rushing.
So Jamie's very autobiographical.
No, I'm not an asshole like that. I'm an asshole in other ways. Yeah, no, but it was so awesome to work like that. Even the guy that sells them empanadas, I'm like, look at that location. We all wanted to be and eat something, so we're like, let's go to that empanada place. And then the guy was like, yeah, sure, I'll sell empanadas. That's what I do. You know? How could it be that difficult? Like, and for Nasty Baby, the same thing. Even in New York, we go to a deli, I get in a fight with this homeless person in a deli, and like everybody in the deli, I'm like, you mind being you for 5 minutes, or like in 2 hours, we'll pay you whatever, $100, and you just need to kick this homeless person out of your deli. So they're like, yeah, I do that every day. And so to us, people, I think it's better, like if you really honestly need small roles, to bring on an actor that's gonna play like the deli guy, is gonna probably come out like really racist and dumb and like unnecessary. They all look young. When you're young and you have like young friend actors to come to your movie, like everybody's a young person. Like there's some pregnant lady's your friend, a dude. You know, like everybody's like, you can tell that it's a student film because everybody looks like a student. But if you use real people, they don't mind. You pay them $50 and they do what they need to do, and what they do in their life. So it's going to come out so natural and perfect. Nobody can do it better than them.
Yes.
So both of you kind of flip-flop between English and Spanish in your work for obvious reasons. One, like an immigrant, and your films are in Chile, but is that something you plan to continue to do in like your work later? Because that's like a language you're so familiar with, and like your brothers are familiar with, and
Yeah.
like what is that? What do you think that adds, like the flipping and flopping so naturally between Spanish and English?
I mean, for directing, honestly, it's a no-brainer. My Spanish is better than my English, but I can direct in English. You know, it's good enough. But now for Nasty Baby, for instance, there's a little tiny bit of Spanish in it, and I decided not to subtitle it. I don't want to subtitle it. I just don't want that to be an aesthetic element of my films continuously, you know? Like it's fine that in Magic and Crystal Fairy it was kind of like a weird coincidence and it was not planned to be like that, but it's kind of like a nice transition also. But it's not something that I want to continue to happen. Like Nasty Baby is going to be entirely in English. And if there's some Spanish, you don't understand what they're saying unless you know Spanish. And then the next movies are all in English, I think, yeah.
What about you, Ross?
I was kind of lucky. It's like the lead character. Like I didn't know him before shooting, so I didn't speak in English with him at all. Like I said, like I will work with whatever comes here. Like if he doesn't speak in English, well, it will be funny. If he speaks more, great. So he ended up really speaking English all the time. He has a great level. I don't know where he got it. Like he doesn't know. He says like, yeah, it's like I'm just improv, and so that was great for what finally came out. And then I don't know if I'll be staying here that long. So probably I'll be back in Chile. And if I don't think the language is something that it's a barrier or something. So just like depending on the project. So I have no problems of working in English or Spanish. Like.
So you envision that you're doing this project now in New York, but you see yourself ultimately going back to Chile.
Yeah, probably. My business partner, he lives here, so we'll have like 2 hubs, one in New York and one in Santiago.
Okay.
So we're gonna try to, like business-wise, like seize all the strengths of each country. So probably going back and forth. That's the plan. I hope it works out. So yeah, that's the plan for.
Are there? Yeah.
So this is kind of a 2-part question. So neither of you guys received formal academic film training, right? No? Okay, so what did you find was most helpful when you were developing your filmmaking skills? Like was it practice, or was there something in particular that was useful that you did?
I started directing, so it's like different. I started off directing a feature, you know. I didn't go through like doing small things and then getting into a feature. Like I went straight to a feature film. So my experience is a little different that way. But I've learned that the more practice, like for instance, my younger brother that I work with, he was in Crystal Fairy and Magic, right? The youngest of my brothers. He's only 20, and he wanted to study film, and I'm like, just don't go to film school. I'm like, I'll get you, if you want to be on set, you can be on set. If you need tips to writing, just talk to me. I'll tell you how I did it or something. But I honestly feel that filmmaking, unless you want to be a critic or you really want to study, and if you're really, because there's more cerebral people, you know, and there's more cerebral directors too, but personally I feel that I'm only craft, like, and I learn from making more than reading, but that's me. It's really what kind of person you are. But I think he's the same way, so I encourage him just to do and make stuff. I think by making, you learn, and I think it's very important that you don't take yourself seriously. I mean, you're only 20, 19, who gives a shit? Nobody cares about your movie. It's like, why would you care about your movie? Nobody else does. It's like, retarded. So I say, just like you're like, no, I'm gonna start with a short film. I'm like, start with a feature, and then it's gonna be shit. Nobody's gonna watch it. You're gonna send it to all the festival. Everybody's like, no, we don't want it. We don't want your film. And then you keep doing it. I mean, you have so much time. Like my first film, I made it when I was 27. And the first one didn't get into many festivals. It did great in Chile, but it didn't go to any festivals. And then I made The Maid, and then people really liked it. And then the word got out and whatever. I kept on making movies. As I told you, I'm like, still haven't made money. So it's not really about, oh yeah, now I'm successful. It's really about just like improving your craft and like getting better at what you want to do. But like, yeah, by making, I think, getting involved, writing, making mistakes, trial and error, writing. Like for instance, like don't ever direct your first screenplay. That it's a rule. Your first screenplay is gonna be so bad that it's sad. It makes me cry when I read your first screenplay. No, but usually, honestly, if you write a third screenplay, of course it's gonna be better. In the first one, you're like killing your mother, your father, yourself, everybody. Like you're pouring everything into it. Unless you're like not a normal person and you're very mature and smart and you actually know what you're doing.
Well, it's for
Just talking with Pablo, he explained when he first told me that you know that you're a pretty hardcore cinephile, so that and I was wondering influences or to what extent is watching a lot of films a part of what you may recommend.
yeah.
And how much did that help you guys
No,
figure stuff out?
yeah, that helped a lot. I don't know how I ended up directing, to be honest. I out of necessity. Now I love it. Like I don't want to produce anymore, like full time. I just like. The thing is, yeah, watching a lot of movies helped me out, helped me a lot. And then also, like avoiding film school. When I first came here, I said like, yeah, so I'll study. And then like the rates are really high, and then you have to put your own money to make the production like a thesis thing. So it's also even more money. And then so I said like, why should I pay someone to teach me how to do things? It's just like go up and do them, right? So like nothing's gonna teach you more than just like the fear of being there, and I have to succeed. I mean, not succeed, but just do it. I mean, like if you put yourself in a tough position, then the lessons come from there, not from someone in a class telling you like I'm telling you this, right? So I hope out of this workshop you get like a message, not reading or doing something, like just go and do it. I mean, like that's what helped for me.
Just to say something positive about a film school or a school in general, which I've never had the opportunity. I mean, I had the opportunity to go to school. I didn't. But sometimes I regret this. You know, like I miss this sort of things where you're like with a bunch of kids your age, kind of. You're possibly going to find a couple that share a sense of humor and a artistic sensibility, right? Wouldn't be that weird. And then if you find those people, then you're like, you've got a lot, you know, like because finding peers to make stuff, it's also hard. If you don't go to school, you're on your own. So it really requires a very specific kind of personality that like you have to be super self-disciplined. And like you gotta wake up and nobody's expecting you to do anything, and you still gotta do a lot. So you end up becoming some kind of a workaholic. There's a lot of like downsides to being on your own, you know, like, and it's my life. Like I work and live, and I don't know anymore what's fun downtime, or what. I don't really know how to have a vacation. Like I go to the beach and I'm like, I I don't. So you're sacrificing a lot of your life by that choice. But what I wanted to say is like here, you can find just a group of people that are eager to do the same as you are, and that it's a lot. I mean, Spielberg, Coppola, all of those guys met in school, and they created a whole. They ruined cinema, but they created a great group of working team, you know, and yeah, there's like a lot of examples of film collectives that have been born that way. So I think find the people that you share common sense with and sense of humor, and like make as much as you can. Just like make mistakes. It's really important to make mistakes because you can always fix them too. Honestly, like it's so much better to make shit than not to make it, because you can just fix it and you learn from your mistakes. Like that's really the best learning process, by fucking up.
Yeah. You also like what he said like about like how film is so collaborative art form. So it's really important to surround yourself by really A players, meaning like really talented, who you communicate with, you understand each other, you're committed to the project, and that's really key. And the school is good for that. And also, I think I'm not against school, and just I think it's a way of studying. Like it doesn't mean that I didn't study to make the web series. I read a bunch of books about screenplays before starting writing, and also I read a lot of books about filmmaking before I started filming. So I did my homework, right? So I didn't just like go out there and do it. But it's because I went to school like for 6 years, so I kind of know the process. Now I know what's good about being in a classroom that has its upsides. But if you're short of money, short of time, and then you have only not the resources, probably you have to take the best of the academic environment and just like take what the exact things that you need in order to do it. So.
Yeah, here.
Hi. So, in your films last night for both of you, one thing that came through very clearly is that, Sebastian, both of your films are about the human connection, the ability to actually connect. And the nightmare version, right, is where, the young woman isn't in an environment where what's happening to her is easily translated. And I was thinking about both of you, the question of being a foreigner in New York, or Michael Cera's character as a foreigner and a young woman in Magic as a foreigner in an unfamiliar place. And I was wondering about the sensibility, if there's a part of an artistic sensibility, or if the being foreign helps you in terms of the formulation of your scripts, your vision, what you're trying to do in film. I mean, it's clearly something that's present in Igualada.
Yeah.
And it's clearly present, I think, in both of the films that we saw yesterday. And it's part of your autobiography. So I was wondering how it informs what you're thinking about.
Honestly, in my case, it's only a coincidence because, for instance, Crystal Ferry, it's based on a true story I explained yesterday, right? And Michael was waiting in Chile, and we wanted to do something together. It seems that Magic was not going to happen. So I'm like, let's make Crystal Ferry. Fuck it. Let's make Mr. You want to be Jamie and kind of be me in the story. I pitch him the story. It's different. I was really not like Jamie, and like there were never three brothers. It was just me and my best friend. So there's like a lot of fiction to the story, you know. But we only made that movie because Michael was there, and it was kind of like a consolation prize for both of us, and just find a way to collaborate together because Magic was not going to happen. So the fact that he became me and we were in Chile forced us to make him into a foreigner in Chile. So that was an accident that I did not plan on doing. But it's good of a coincidence because, yeah, I've been a foreigner in this country for like 12 years now. But that was an accident. And then same with Magic. Magic was written in the beginning to just like a Chilean movie, just like this really shy girl that came to a country house and she didn't really know how to connect, and slowly she started like feeling really paranoid, and then eventually she was gonna like through a schizophrenic attack. And I was like, I live in New York. I've been there for 11 years, so I was writing that in Manhattan, and then my manager was like, why don't you make this into an American movie? And I'm like, yeah, why not? And then she became a foreigner. So it's been two accidents, and it's funny because it always comes out in Q&As, or but for me, they were never really. I never thought of their nationalities. It was like such a MacGuffin to me. It was nothing. It was like the fact that they were American or Chilean. I mean, I guess more in Magic, like it really adds up to her paranoia. Like it really actually served my story and my purpose to have a foreigner, because the level of alienation is like just 20 times more, So that really added. And I've been in that situation, I guess. Like I remember the first time I came to America. I went to Canada. I lived in Montreal for a year, and I thought I knew English, and I didn't. And then I remember we smoked weed, and we were watching like ice hockey, and I'm like, and I didn't know what to say. I was like completely mute, and then everybody like, every time that like group would laugh, I would laugh a lot. And then I remember escaping to a bathroom and being like, I needed time for myself. I'm like speaking Chilean words to myself. So yeah, I went through like my little psychosis. Yeah, I feel sorry for me.
As Gringolandia, yeah, maybe on the surface, it might appear just like a story of an immigrant. I meant more for that. I mean, like what I really wanted to do is kind of criticize our society, Chilean society, through American society, since we share the same economic system. So I thought it was like a good thing to do, just to kind of not trick the audience, but just make like a mirror. So if they're laughing at theirs of the American society, the way it works, they're also laughing at themselves. So that's something I really want to explore next season. So now I don't have the pressure on like putting the story out there now. Like so it's going to be more and more relaxed in the storytelling kind of way. So I think I have more chances to say that. And so that's even if at the surface might appear just like an adaptation story, what I really want to say at the end of the day is like how not only the cultural shock and the entrepreneurship elements, but also trying to say something by exploring all this the aspects that Peter is going to be discovering of the society. He will be discovering them and kind of criticizing them, and but at the same day,
What is happening? Silence
The other way.
your phones. Timothy. Timothy.
Go ahead.
oh yeah, just finished there. That's the whole idea. So yeah, I helped to write the basic stuff to make the comedy work, but I want to think it's more than that. So.
Yes.
When did you guys have the ideas for your respective projects? Like, did you meet Michael and then you were like, oh, you should be me in this movie? Or like, you have, because I know you experienced that, but like, when did you decide to like make it into a movie? And then when did you get the idea of the Gringo idea? And like, how long did it take you to like get going with it?
All movies are so different. They all have different origins and drives, and the intention you have with the movies are all different. You cannot really approach movies the same way ever. They're all different weird animals. With Michael, he called me after watching one movie, and then he's like, let's collaborate. And then very easy going that way. Like, if an actor wants to collaborate and we have something in common, of course, I'll be like, yeah, let's do something right now. Like I don't have really a plan for my career at all. Like I could go smaller, I could go bigger. I don't. So with Michael, I was doing this thing for HBO, and I invited him to be part of that immediately. I'm like, you want to? I'll write something for you in this HBO thing, and he's like, yeah. And that was our first thing, and then he read Magic, and he really liked one of the characters, and he was one of the reasons why that movie turned out to be an American film, or like a movie in English, just because he really liked one role, and I'm like, can you learn Spanish? Just to challenge him a little. And then he did. And then Crystal Ferry was an accident. And then Anne the Lesbian, and that play we want to do. Can we talk about that again? Just to say the word vagina.
Well, yeah, I was going to suggest, because I saw Michael Cera's also, well, he is a musician, and you said you need to be around musicians, so I thought you guys could start
a band.
Group, the
Michael and Seba. Michael and Seb. Yeah, maybe. No. No.
So that's actually interesting because when you were talking about that last night, when you brought up the play idea, are you like? It's kind of very interesting because I do photography and stills much easier.
Yeah.
But guys who make movies, like you have 100 ideas in your head for a movie at a time.
Yeah, man.
All the time, right?
Yeah, the photographer.
When you first started?
It became like that, honestly. Like after Life Kills Me, I was like, oh my God, I'm doomed now. It's fucked up wherever I am. I'm like, I was walking through this hallways, I'm like, this movie's great. Like I've been thinking about like William and Mary. I was asking yesterday, there's like some creepy stories that have this lady committed suicide and then someone else committed suicide in the same room, and there's so, like I just heard also that the pool is next to where the medicine, whatever, keep the corpses. So the corpses are next to the swimming pool. I mean, there's like 20 movies in this town. There's so many movies here. Yeah, you should make a movie. I mean, yeah, you're here. What you should make a movie in Brooklyn. No, but honestly, yeah, it's all the time. It's fun. It makes it really fun, and I just I'm really open. I honestly am every time saying I'm gonna make this movie, and then I don't make it, and then. But I've been making a lot of movies, and there's so many ideas that just don't make it to a movie. But it's good to welcome everything, you know. Like a science fiction idea, you're very excited for a month, and then you're like, fuck that. And you keep going like that. Like it's very, very important, I feel, not to be attached to your ideas, because any important idea will come back. You don't need to hold it. The idea will make sure to come back if it was actually a good idea. Like bad ideas leave you, you know, so it's not good to keep them because they just actually want to leave you because they suck.
So, we should wrap it up because you guys have been very, very generous with your time, and I think you guys all have your homework clearly set out. You each have 20 movies to make, at least, each. And it's okay if they're shit.
Yeah.
It's part of the homework, I think.
Yeah.
But thank you, Ross. Thank you, Sebastian.
Oh, thank you.
This has
thanks.
been
This has been
like a
great.
great opportunity. A round of applause.